Okay, welcome back to UFOs Above Us. All right, today we're going to look at a video and then some still images. These were all taken over the weekend when we had some great viewing conditions. Got tons of new video. And I got to tell you, as I've been developing my technique, that I'm now to the point, after a couple of years of doing this nonstop, I'm finally learning how to cut through all of the barriers to seeing what's really on the moon. So we're going to start displaying some progressively more compelling information. Anyone who doesn't believe there's intelligent structure on the moon, I believe they're just forcing themselves to deny the truth here. Let's watch this video, untampered video, and I'll just point out some objects that we see here that all are intelligent design. Here's the first one, and we'll blow up all these objects. So we're going to look at that one in detail. I wanted to see this one, but I couldn't make it out. So this one's really interesting, and I'll tell you some backstory on that in a minute. There's a little one just like it right there. So this one and this one are the same, small and large. That's kind of the mini-me. And then we're going to look at this area right here. It's pretty interesting. And then some other things around that we'll focus on. And then we're going to jump back to the back of the video. And there's two little objects back here, there and there. We're going to spend some time on them. We're going to look at this area right in here, and we're going to look at this area in the front. So those are the things that we're going to concentrate on, and we're just going to walk through several of them. Let's start off with this one. I should go ahead and stop that video so it doesn't cause problems later. Okay, so now we'll look at this picture. And this is the original size, by the way. You can't really make out anything on these two objects, but watch what happens. Because I shot this in 4K, ultra high res, with a really good camera, look what happens as I blow that up. So I'm going to go ahead and blow it out to full 500% blow up. Now, what do these look like? Well, this one on the right, I can see a triangular shape. I can see a dome. I can see three supports, two in the front and one in the rear. I can even see light glinting off of the longitudinal line of this object, whatever it is. I'm going to say craft, just like you'd see on a fuselage on an airplane. So I believe that's a triangular ship, craft of some type. You may disagree, and that's okay, but that's what I see there. Next to it, it's really not as clear cut to me because it looks like there's two humps instead of one right there, and I just can't make it. There's not quite enough detail there to make out what it is, but I do see two supports right there. And there's several others that I see supports that I can't quite make out. This one is not clear enough for me. This one's really not clear enough. That one was the best of all of them. But showing all these things that are similar shapes kind of perched on the surface of the moon makes you say, or at least it did for me. And in these areas where I can't, the picture's not clear enough to make out, I suspect there's a lot more than we're seeing right here. It would not surprise me at all if there's huge portions of the moon covered with some kind of intelligent design objects. So let's move on. Here's a rectangular object. I just wanted to point out that you can see structures in there. And then if you look on top of that, you can even see what looks like a square object here, kind of cube shaped, and then a dark object here, and then another object here on top. So that's, it looks man-made to me, or intelligent design is the word I should be using. And then we'll finish up looking over here. This caught my eye because it's got kind of an oval shape here, and it looks like it's angled up. And I just wonder if this isn't some kind of a launching pad, because it's got that oval shape, and it certainly looks ramp-like to me. Don't know that it is, but just my thought when looking at that. So that's one picture down. Let's go to the next one. Okay, and again, even from the original size here, you can tell that this part here in the center that I pointed out is not a crater. It's rounded on this side, but look at this wall or pipe or whatever that is going across, and then this rectangular section here. That's no crater. And when we blow it out, it kind of just reinforces what I said. So what is this? I don't know. I can just point out things that I see about it. It's interesting. You have these dark areas right here. Don't know why those are there on a white rim, but it's also jagged. It's not smooth like a crater would be. And this is the giveaway. You've got this big section here, and my theory is that maybe that's a walkway, because then you got these two pipes or maybe supports right here. So I'm wondering if that's not a walkway across this, and then it goes up and goes across right here, and then you see what looks to me like a little building right here, a rectangular building with a doorway right there. So that's the first one we wanted to point out. Now, a thing that goes with it, if you look up here, you've got this odd kind of out of place square right here with a little corner cut off, and that just caught my eye when I was looking at the original picture. Okay, so those are the two main ones there, and I just want to mention again, look at all the triangular or prism-shaped items in here as well. They're all over. There's one that's kind of bat wing shaped. I call that ray shaped, and I've actually got some footage of one of those flying on another video of mine. So if you want to look back on my view list, you can see it on there. You can even see the exhaust glowing on it as it flies in front of the moon. Okay, so that's that picture. I will point out this was interesting to me. I don't know what it is, but that does not look naturally occurring. It looks kind of like a golf tee to me, like a giant golf tee. A little crooked right there, but that's what I saw. So that's that picture. Next. Okay, here's let's do this object first. This is I think a building, and when you blow this out, you'll see. Certainly has suggestions of a building to me. You can see supports going down, and it's just such a sharp rectangular edge. Even looks like some kind of a pipe sticking out right there, or antenna or whatever that is. Now, what I want to point out about this is whoever's doing this on the moon, they're clever. And one of the things they do to make it difficult to see this stuff is they camouflage it. So if you look at the roof of this, it's been textured to look just like the regolith of the moon. Pretty clever of them to do that, but the straight lines and the shadows always give it away. So if you set your gear up correctly, you can cut through their defenses and see this stuff. This area right here also made it difficult to see because it kind of spills over and hides that edge, but this is a unmistakable rectangular edge right there. So that's just one thing I want to point out. The main thing on this I want to point out is right here. And again, I'm just going to give you a theory. This right here, I think, is some kind of a heater, some kind of a heating element, a giant heating element used to either terraform or just to control the incredibly cold temperatures on the moon. And this right here glows. I have the picture with a lot of brightness right now, but if I turned it down, everything would be invisible except this right here. It glows. So I think it's generating heat. I don't know whether it's a fusion reactor. I don't know whether it's some other alien-based energy source, but that is some kind of I think some kind of a heat source. Giant scale, of course. But you can see the base of it. It's even a twisted spire there. And again, they've sprayed the base of it with something to camouflage it, but obviously they can't camouflage the heat element. So that's what I think that is. Now, there's a couple other things on this video that I'll just touch on. We talked about the triangles and those shapes. That shape right there jumped out at me when I first saw this. And the reason is because it reminded me a lot more of our aircraft. Now, obviously, an aircraft wouldn't be flying to the moon, but just look at the shape itself. Other than this angle right here, which doesn't mesh otherwise, you could think of that as an aircraft with a kind of a very straight, like an A-10 Warthog type wing. So that's the next picture. Let's go to one more. All right, and this one just blows up. This is another image of the, This is another image of the big heating source with the little mini-me heating source right there, and it glows also. So those are the main things I was going to point out on this, and we're just looking. I tried to see what this was. It doesn't look natural to me, but I can't make out what it is. Even with my extreme blow-up, what is that? I don't know. It doesn't look natural to me, but I don't have any idea what that is. Got this little triangular-looking black area there. But this picture does a good job of showing this building. I think even better than the other one I showed you. Again, you can see the little pipe or whatever antenna sticking up. This one, you can even see what looks like a couple more here. But look at the building. I mean, that is a building. There's no mistaking it. And again, that shows just how important the angle you view things from is when looking at the moon. From a different angle, you couldn't see this at all. But now look how clearly that texture jumps out at you. And these are just a few of the images from just a few seconds of video. I shot over an hour this weekend all with similar clarity, and the number of objects on the moon you can see is just staggering. So for UFOs above us, keep watching those skies.